Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to our first technology presentation for the day, a changing threat landscape, need for optimized resilience and security for reinforced business continuity. Our speaker for this session is Mr. Harish Soni, Practice Leader, Resiliency Services, Crindle, India. Crindle is a $19.4 billion technology services company with 90,000 highly skilled practitioners worldwide with deep expertise in mission-critical digital environments and the skills, IP, and tools to drive continuous innovation at scale. As an independent company, we will have empowered teams close to our customers and a broad range of partnership ecosystems to anticipate and respond to the needs. Our speaker for this session, Mr. Harish, has over 17 years of experience in business continuity and security strategy. He is known as a technical leader in core practices of continuity and data protection, disaster recovery, and security. He is currently partnering with customers to build a future enterprise with zero tolerance for failure. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Soni up on stage.
Thank you. Good morning, team. I see some seats getting empty. I think it's a breakfast time. And I'm the odd one out, wearing this resort shirt in a BFSI domain. But I was telling my wife, I want the blazer to be off. It's Friday. We are in Goa, so we got to be chilled. So nothing about it, but I understand, the industry expects us to be in there. So I think I was just looking at the session before, guys, and the dignitaries on the floor, right, they spoke about the whole industry, its changing technology, how it's shaping up. Someone spoke about the network being the backbone, the UPI numbers. I mean, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming the way BFSI industry has grown, the way our government has supported. And in fact, I would say every developing and developed country, we have seen the government, it's a backbone, right? So the government are supporting the new startups which are coming along with it, or I would say the net technology which is going to support this whole BFSI, it's the need. It's a need. Like someone spoke about common man, and the word which clicked to my mind was R.K. Narayan. I don't know how many of you are familiar with R.K. Narayan and his common man story, right? Malgudi days. So I was just thinking about that common man and that day where they will struggle to go into banks and think about it now, today, on the phone. The number of UPI transactions, like the numbers we just spoke about. So banking has got so digital, right? The fintech is the fastest growing fintech in India, right? I think that's how we are. So with all this technology and shaping up of numbers, I want to acknowledge the regulatory board, which comes into picture. And that's very key for us, right? I think all of us, it's not just we as a technology partner, but it's also for the consumers, also protecting the industry, also protecting the governments, right? Because without those regulatory boards, I mean, it would have been a con man or it would have been a cartel, right? So I accept the great job done by RBI, SEBI, IRDAI, now CERT also coming into the picture. I think, we'll definitely talk about some CERT initiatives which are coming, and those regulatory forms, because those help us in shaping the technology, getting our consumers what they need, getting the industry as well in the right form. With those regulatory boards coming in, it has helped shape services better, not just as consumer, but as technology as well. Now, talking about business continuity, right? Because I think somebody spoke about backbone, network being the backbone. How business continuity remains a backbone. As we talk about so many transactions, we talk about availability of services, right? Imagine a day in our life without internet. Imagine a day in our life without having to be able to do a transaction. I still remember, or I don't remember, it's still happening. I have to wait for 30 minutes to go ahead and register and transfer money to someone. I'm like, yaar, ye kab khatam hoga? I want to do that transaction, register and transfer immediately. My brother is waiting at the airport, I need money, how do you do that? That's all going to happen through technology, and it will come to that level, right? It will come to that level. So as we go towards the technology and all the need, business continuity becomes kind of a backbone, right? It's another backbone. I would not say no, network. There are many backbones, but business continuity becomes a key part of the whole IT because we want availability of services. Availability of services is the most critical part of it, right? We cannot just live without it. Electricity, now if I just look at Mumbai, we haven't had a failure of electricity for a long, long time ago. And I still remember when I go back to Pune or Bangalore, they still have failures of electricity, right? But that's the ask. That's the ask that availability of services should be there at any point in time, right? That's what we need from a banking domain as well. So with this availability of services, our regulatory boards have taken the right step that, hey, as a industry, as a service provider, you should have your right set of business continuity. You should have your near DR. You should have a far DR. You should have your right set of RPO, RTOs. You want to go ahead and submit those results back to the RBI or those boards, right? Because that's very much required. You got to submit those as they want to see you're doing or you're playing that specific area well. So in NetNet, business continuity becomes a key part of this entire landscape. Again, I'm just flashing some numbers in the back and some areas. So I just want to see that this continues while I speak as well. This messages go about Kyndryl, about what we do as well, and I'll come to it. But yeah, definitely, this industry conversation remains at a key point. Now, having spoken about the business continuity, the regulatory boards coming into picture, it's also key that when you look at business continuity, it's not just about technology, right? It's about people and process as well. That's how we look at business continuity, right? Pandemic. So as we grow, technology helps us understand, the business continuity better. Then came digitalization, next level. Then came pandemic, another next level. We don't know what's going to happen next, right? But pandemic, I know, took it to the extreme end. We realized that, technology has to be available from home, technology has to be available from cyber cafes, technology has to be available everywhere, right? So that's where, with all of this, business continuity and the security part plays a key role, and see that availability of services from anywhere is available. You think about it now, even the smallest villages, tier 3 villages, have banking services, right? Banking services. I know, again, I'm just keep giving example and relating back because, as I said, I like linking always to the common man, and RK Narayan is one of my favorite. When I go back to my wife's house, she's from a tier 3 city. That district has 19 banks. A tier 3 city having 19 banks. I was like amazed to see, I won't name the banks because it's not like that, but I see 19 banks there. So again, that's how this whole industry is growing, and I think, every tier 3 city, and with the ask is needed, technology is reaching out. I think somebody also spoke earlier, the technology is reaching out to the tier 3 cities, and they expect us services to be available. So business continuity, regulatory board, availability of services. So the people, process, and technology are the key pillars of our business continuity. And especially when we talk about technology, again, as I said, we got to see that, we enable those for our customers or our consumers. And we at Kyndryl, what we exactly do is we help you in this platform, right? At Kyndryl, which again, when we started, I think resiliency has been one of our core domain. We have close to 10,000 plus people who just focus on resiliency, right from advisory to consulting, focusing on these 3 pillars, focusing on the 7 aspects of business continuity, right? Like we look at business continuity, we look at risk assessments, we look at continuity, we got to look at automation, we got to look at people. Looking at all of those levels, that shapes up the business continuity model for any of the organization. So when we talk about Kyndryl as well, right, we have been, apart from those numbers, I'll just keep talking about something else as, right. We have a strong business continuity team with those workforce, patents, and I think we cover almost 1 or 2 banks, I would say top 3 banks, in that top 3, 1 or 2, in every country, right? That's how the numbers have been. And I think when we talk about business country, we look at, near zero, or I would say, in minutes RPO, RTOs. I would say minutes of RTO and near zero RPO, right? That's what we want the lines to continue. So I think with those kind of requirements of banking and technology, we go ahead and work with our partners and deliver it, right? We acquired Sanovi in our IBM days. Again, everybody knows Kyndryl is a spin-off of IBM GTS, right? So we acquired Sanovi, which is one of the most prominent automation and orchestration tool, which is across, as I was saying, the top 3 banks. It is across 1 of them or 2 of them. I would say many 3 of them. across the insurance industry. So the numbers and volumes are very high for us, very high for us. The experience as well with those acquisition of technologies and with that experience is amazing. From a consulting perspective, if I talk about it, we have consulted the stock exchange of every country. We have consulted the stock exchange of every country. And again, from a business continuity perspective, right? So with that experience, with that platform, with that volume of people, with the tools, right, we have that, what we want our partners to go on that journey, what we want to see the vision set by the regulatory board and get to that vision, not just set by the, the boards, but also see that our partners take and achieve it, right? That's the key part of it. So uh, the the whole idea of this platform again was to see that how we convey that message, right? We have set up at booth number 12 team. We have our colleagues, Ramakant, Arunchar, Faisal. You're going to just go and talk to them and they'll give you a lot of insights, right? Not just business continuity from a point of, the disaster recovery services or data protection, cyber incident recovery. I was until 12 midnight, I think. When I left my home, it was 5 p.m. I was continuously on call, recovering from a cyber incident for a customer. I was continuously on call till the flight boarded, got on a call again when the flight landed until 12 midnight, and then I slept. I said, sorry, I have to do something. I gave a plan and I came off. Cyber incidents. We just can't run away from cyber incidents. Zero architecture framework, does that give you 100% security? No, we don't know, right? That's the way security issues are. So cyber incident is another key area where we have to go ahead and adapt business continuity. Now, when we talk about a cyber incident, and can we use DR? No. Can we use backup? You can, but again, have you done the tabletop exercise for it, that how much of time does it take for you to recover from a backup? Imagine, you're recovering a critical application from a tape. I was giving an example, right? That I'm waiting 30 minutes to register for a payee. I'm going to wait 1 day to register at payee. We can't accept that. So we have to look at business continuity at each levels. Earlier, when I was giving an example of pandemic, I should have touched this cyber incident. Sorry, it's coming later. But it's very critical. Cyber incidents are real. Every day we talk about it. I am on calls very frequently because, as I said, our experience in the industry from a recovery perspective, from a resiliency perspective, has been very high, right? So how do you help the customers recover? How do you go ahead and decide what are the critical applications? How do you set across streams to go ahead and do that? That's what we do. So coming from the point that cyber incidents are real, we cannot use DR there. Backups, again, there are some key components which we need from a cyber incident as well, right? Like you need immutable storage. You need isolation, air gap. You need orchestration as well. I can't be restoring one by one, and say that, oh, I'm going to bring up that service after 6 hours. Not acceptable, not acceptable. That's where the orchestration and automation comes into picture. So these are some key pillars of technology which links back in availability, which links back in your services being up and together. So I think some of those numbers, again, I'm going to turn back. I think, we were talking about it. As you see, the DR lifecycle automation, intelligent workflow, single dashboard, immutable storage. Those are all the pillars or the components of a technology in business continuity. Could be DR, could be your cyber incident recovery. It's all required there to go ahead and make it as available of services to you. Again, this is a slide which talks about, what are the global risks, and you will see very well the natural disaster cyber has been part of it. So it's very critical for us as an industry to partner and see that we look at business continuity from all of those levels. We look at it from a pillar, those 3 pillars which I was just talking about: people, process, technology. We look at it from a point of cyber resiliency, which we look at it from a point of a cyber incident. It's important we consider all of those and shape our business continuity. I think it's about availability of services team. I think that's what even we do as an individual, right? I wanna safeguard myself, so I go and turn to an insurance company. I wanna safeguard my money, so I put it into an FD in the banks, right? As an individual, we do it. the same mindset has to be towards our industry, towards our bank, towards our financial institute as well. We cannot say and make assumptions, yaar, jab wo hoga, I'll recover from a backup. Nah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. When a disaster happens, I'll just switch these 3 applications and I'll keep this application on the side. I'll continue to focus on my production, do everything best here, but isko chhod do yaar, DR kab hoga, kisko pata? We can't take those assumptions and, flyers in our mind. Things are real. When it strikes, it strikes. And then we don't want to be like, in the bad saying, oh, sorry, I didn't do it, right? People, again, an example of it in one of the cyber incidents which I was working on. I have 30 seconds still, so I'll cover this example. The head office was well protected, amazingly. Oh, they could run a branch office in one of the tier 2 cities. He did something of his sort, screwed, sued, that's it. So please, it's time for us to work together and shape the business continuity platform well, right? And I said, at Kindle, we have been doing this. As I gave examples of our banks, what we do, our industries, insurance sectors, worldwide. I think you should visit our booth. We should connect. Again, it's just like, we can share. It's not just like, example, we have to talk about it. Sharing feedback, connecting would help us mature, make it better. But it's key that, business continuity is in our portfolio, is part of our key strategy. It's not just a CIO session in his mind, where it's part of every individual supporting the IT. He thinks about business continuity and shapes it up. So team, again, I want to thank you for your time. There was too much of a message, but as I said, you should visit our booth and we should have those conversations to learn from each other. What you are doing better, maybe, we should learn and pick it up from as well. And then what we are doing, we'd like to give you those examples and, share that forward. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And back to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Soni, for highlighting the threat landscape. And yes, your phone.
Yeah, sorry, it was ringing.
And I would request Mr. Shankar Jadhav, Managing Director, BSE Investments and Head Strategy, BSE, to please come up on stage and present a memento as a token of our appreciation to Mr. Harish Soni, Practice Leader, Resiliency Services, Crindle, India.